Good morning. Sorry.
Good morning. I apologise to be late.
Pardon?
Sorry to be late.
Pardon? I was late.
Oh, late. Oh, there's Teresa. That's great.
Morning.
It took a while to do the skin brushing.
Morning.
Morning, Teresa. Hi, Jane.
Hi.
How are you, Jane?
Janice.
Hi, Shell.
I'm fine, thanks. Yeah, I'm good.
Hi, Janice.
Yes. Did you do the little brushing and the long brushing, or?
I gave it a good scrub as well. I did a really good body scrub and a brush and a body scrub. And
right.
I let the shower get colder than normal. I did.
Hi, Janice.
Hello, morning.
Morning.
I think the sun's coming out. Morning, Jane.
Hi, Jane.
Oh, she's gone again.
Me? Oh, no.
No, there's another Jane.
Right.
Ah, no,
Got
you're
it.
still no. Jane kind of came in and went out again. Mind you, that happened yesterday with Teresa, didn't it?
Yeah. I was blaming my computer.
She
System.
definitely. Unless it's just cut out perhaps signal. How is everybody feeling on waking this morning?
Well,
How did we feel?
how do we feel?
Yes. How are you feeling on waking?
Well, it's the sun's splitting the skies, so that makes me feel good.
Oh, that's good.
I just couldn't.
Well,
half two this morning, I was wide awake. I couldn't get back to sleep. It's the first time in months that's happened. So annoying. So annoying.
Yes.
2:30, Shelley.
Yeah.
Oh.
So annoying. It's so
Liver time.
late, isn't it?
Yes, liver time.
Mm.
The moon went into Aries last night. Oh, it's interesting. You woke just before moonrise, actually, at 02:46.
It was 2:38.
Andy woke at 10 to 7 this morning with cramp. He said, oh. So grabbed the magnesium oil off the bed, sprayed it onto his leg, massaging his calf muscle. And he's going, oh. And he also said that hasn't happened for ages.
Well, I'm in Chester at the moment. You can probably see there's a different backdrop to normal, because that's my mum's dining room. And my daughter's struggling to sleep at the moment. So I came down. I woke up at about 4:30 to go to the toilet. Came down to go to the toilet, and she was still up. She was still up. And then we ended up in a conversation from 4:30 until 7:30, when I thought I better have some breakfast before this call. So yeah, we've also had an unusual morning here.
Yeah.
So she's just gone to bed for the first time now.
Oh, wow. Right.
How old is she, Janice?
She's 17, but she has anxiety, which gets in the way of lots of things, including sleeping. So she'd had a bad night. So she'd just been on her own in the living room all night.
Oh.
Yes. I'm sure she was glad that you found her.
Yeah,
Mm.
yeah. We've had a long chat.
Mm.
But it
Yeah.
adds to, I suppose I'm adding to your picture of, yeah, this morning isn't exactly an entirely normal morning, is it?
No. I must admit, being very suspicious, I wondered if they put another satellite up, but I'll have to check.
Well, yeah, it does make you wonder if something's going on, doesn't it?
We are also, though, slap bang in the middle of 2 eclipses, so
Oh, are we?
it's going to be slightly different from normal. Yes, and they last Wednesday on the full moon, which was eclipsed, they put another load of satellites up. So anyway, this morning I thought we could just have a look at the liver in a bit more detail, because I know we've spoken a lot about what it does while we're detoxing, and obviously we're supporting it with the castor oil packing, we're supporting it with the herb enemas, we're giving it a break with what we're going to be doing, and so I'm just going to go into a little bit more detail about also the foods that can support liver detox as well, and have a look at those. Oops. So why do we want to support it? I was just having a look at everything it does. So we've always been saying it filters 1,700 litres of blood every day, secretes bile that it pours the wastes that it's clearing from the blood into. It's got these 2 detoxification pathways, phases 1 and 2, which is what we're going to have a look at in a little bit more detail. It manages your blood sugar, it stores your nutrients for you, breaks down your proteins, etc., etc. Just never-ending work, 24 hours a day. So just thinking about fasting, there's a lot of research on fasting at the moment. I mean, I know we've spoken about intermittent fasting in the past, and people like Walter Lungo and Michael Mosley, and all of the research that's going on about the hours in which you eat and therefore leave to fast. But fasting has been around for centuries as a spiritual practice in many religions. Ramadan is a classic one. Lent is another one. And Hippocrates also prescribed fasting in his practice a couple of centuries ago. So, you know, used to say our food should be our medicine and our medicine should be our food. And so, has anybody ever fasted at Lent?
No.
No. Or abstained from something?
Yeah, I tried to this year to not have chocolate, and
Right.
I did do very well until it got very close to the end of it, and then about 2 weeks before, so many things happened either at school or at home around chocolate that I had one piece, and once I'd had one piece, that was it. And in the end, I would say I've eaten the most chocolate that I've ever eaten at Easter in the 2 weeks and Easter.
Right.
It kind of like had a reverse impact, but I did give it up for most of it, but it actually had a knock-on effect that wasn't great in the end.
Yes. Sorry, just thinking about chocolate, you made me think about palmitic acid, but I'll come back to that. So looking at toxins, a toxin is a compound that has a detrimental effect on your cells' function or their structure. So it can actually affect their makeup. And so just going back to the body's roots of elimination or detoxification, you've got the lymphatic system, you've got the skin, you've got the large intestine, you've got the kidneys. But the liver is like a huge sort of chemical factory for detoxification. So where do the toxins come from? They come from the environment that we live in, and they also come from inside, from the products of your cells' metabolism. And so the exogenous ones from outside can come from your heavy metals like lead and cadmium, from the environment, and mercury, of course, from things like fillings, and they used to put it in vaccines. They now put aluminium in some of them. You've got things like your bathroom products that you use every day. You've got microbial organisms coming in from the environment, food additives in foods, heavy metals, sorry, pesticides and herbicides that they spray onto food, alcohol, drugs, for example, that are used for medical problems, and then there's sort of drug abuse of various kinds. And so what about endogenous ones that are made inside? Well, we've got the breakdown of our metabolic wastes from our cells. We've got breakdown products of protein metabolism. Now that happens mostly through the kidneys, actually, because we excrete any excess ammonia and urea. Then you've got microbial compounds. For example, if you've got any yeast activity from sort of candidas going on in the gut, parasites also, if anybody's got, you know, any sort of worms of any kind, hookworm and so on, tapeworms, those create their own toxins, which the liver has to break down. Pent-up emotions, things like anger have an enormous effect because of the chemicals that produces for the liver. And then we've got our inherited toxic load. So from a homeopathic point of view, they would look at whether you were born in with a tubercular sort of toxic load, or a syphilitic, or, you know, whatever happened to be in the past generations that you're born in with, and impact your genetic picture. And so liver detox, the liver filters 8 pints or 3.7 plus litres of blood every 3 minutes. And it collects the blood from the intestines via the hepatic portal vein that carries that blood to the liver. So it's loaded with both nutrients, but also bacteria and these endotoxins as well. And I know we've spoken about how a coffee enema or a herbal enema is carried from the hepatic portal vein that's at the bottom of the large intestine up to the liver. So that's how that works, but it collects from every portion. There's these sort of little rivulets from the hepatic portal vein into each bit of your intestines, picking up all of the nutrients and all of the wastes and carrying them up to the liver. And so the liver's also synthesizing, making and secreting bile, and every day it manufactures about 1 litre of bile, so roughly 2 pints of bile. And bile is the liquid that we carry those toxic substances that the liver filters out of the body. So there's a look at the liver, spleen and stomach. And what you can see perhaps a bit lower down here is where you've got the common bile duct, and it's just coming to the top of the duodenum there, because the bile from the liver and the pancreatic juices come into the common bile duct and are excreted into the duodenum to help neutralize the acids from the stomach, pH of 2, so that those what's exiting from the stomach doesn't then burn the small intestine. So with your liver detox, you've got a phase 1 and a phase 2, and it's using enzymes and antioxidants as well to help alter the toxins that it's got to deal with, so that it can neutralize them or make them more water soluble so that you can excrete them. Now, during phase 1, some of those toxins are totally neutralized and they can be excreted at that stage, and they're parceled up with more water and exit. But some of them are made more chemically reactive, and this is what can be tricky. So if you've got good phase 2 enzymes to complete the process, it's not a problem. But if your phase 2 is sluggish, that's what can leave a lot of chemically reactive toxins, as they're called, floating around. And this is what can make you feel rubbish. And this is one of the things that can contribute to feeling rubbish during a detox. And this is why your herb enema helps your phase 2, helps the bile exit from the liver and helps you feel a lot better. So for everything to work really smoothly, we need to supply the body with enough nutrition of the ingredients that are used in both phase 1 and 2. So just looking at what they are, you've got your B complex, including folic acid. Glutathione is an antioxidant that is manufactured hopefully by the liver, and that is also what can be poorer. And so that's one thing that we need to make sure that your liver can carry out. And so giving it the ingredients, and some foods will help because they're high in glutathione or rich in sulfur that helps you make glutathione. And so you've also got antioxidants, and milk thistle is a herb that helps you make new liver cells and therefore helps you have a glutathione producing cell there, basically. So that's why milk thistle can be so helpful. And one of the things you might like to do is get some tincture of milk thistle, maybe after the detox, and have maybe a tonic, if you like, of taking the bottle of milk thistle and encouraging, liver cell production and glutathione production after the detox. Carotenoids, such as you find in all the brightly coloured veggies like carrots, sweet potatoes, those kind of foods are lovely for step 1. And vitamin E and vitamin C. So of course we're focusing on those as well with the supplements that we're taking. And then you've got selenium, you've got sulfur, and you've got some of your amino acids, glutamine, glycine, taurine and cysteine. And glutamine and cysteine and taurine, I think particularly, are helpful for making glutathione. And just a quick breakdown of looking at liver cells in a bit more detail. So in the liver, you've got these hepatic globules that are fed by the circulation of blood circulation of the liver. And then if you break that down even further, you get down to each little liver cell, your hepatocytes, and they're the ones that have 400 mitochondria each, because they're cleaning the blood. Now in phase 1, you have these cytochrome P450 enzymes, and they're produced actually as well, these enzymes, in most of your tissues of the body. They help in making hormones and also breaking down hormones like estrogen and testosterone. They help in making cholesterol and some of your vitamin metabolism as well. But they also help metabolize toxins, break down drugs and products of your endogenous, the inside metabolism, like bilirubin in the liver.
Mm.
And this is what one of the enzymes that we need iron for. Things that can cause overactivity of your P450 enzymes are things like caffeine, alcohol, dioxins, and saturated fats, organophosphate chemicals in pesticides, paint fumes, hopefully not so much now because they've reduced those quite considerably from what they were in paints, sulfonamides, exhaust fumes from cars, and barbiturate drugs. I was just thinking about the fact caffeine is a bit of a double-edged sword with caffeine, because of course it's the palmitic acid in caffeine that you get, for example, in a coffee enema, that actually helps increase the rate of glutathione, which is how coffee enemas help. So foods that are helpful: eggs, although that's something obviously that we avoid during our detox. Then you've got all your cruciferous vegetables, so things like the family that are broccoli, cabbage. This is why it's so lovely to include a bit of these in juices, although I haven't suggested any, but I know not everyone's fond of the cabbage juice, but but anyway, Brussels sprouts, which we don't get at this time of year anyway, but great to include them in the winter. Cauliflower. So things like the onions and leeks and garlic that we put in things like Hippocrates soup or into your potassium broth. Shallots are great. Anything that's high in sulfur and will help enhance the phase 2. And then you've got in phase 2 enzyme systems, you've got glucuronyl transferase and glutathione transferase. So it's helping increase both of those enzymes. But glutathione is the most powerful internal antioxidant and protector of the liver. And the limonene in citrus foods and celery is really helpful. So celery juice is fantastic for the liver, and that's something that I've included this time in each of the juices, because it's the phase 2 enzymes like glutathione that do the real big cleanup. So your liver cells also add another substance like cysteine or glycine to toxic chemicals to make them less harmful, so they can actually excrete it. But this is where grapefruit and also curcumin, which you find in turmeric, are fantastic, because they help to, the reason they're lovely is they help to slow phase 1 down by 30%. So this is why they're not helpful if there are some blood pressure drugs coming in, because they slow the phase 1 rate down. Now that gives your body a bigger chance to fully deal with the toxins that are produced by slowing it down and not stimulating more than the liver can deal with. So if you slow down phase 1 and then speed up phase 2, if you've got, enough glutathione there, that is what can help the liver. And so including the grapefruit in the morning in our detox smoothie is helpful for the beginning of the day. So when you're fasting, the body gets an extra toxic load to deal with. And this is why, you know, having juices that are high in antioxidants is really helpful, because that helps the liver deal with those extra toxins. So if you can have, you know, if you've got a really efficient, quick phase 1 detox pathway, but then with a deficient phase 2, then you've got a bit of a problem, because you know it's going to make you feel rubbish. So this is why everything that we're doing is helping support, slow down phase 1 a little bit and help keep phase 2 going nicely. And particularly this is where your detox techniques come in, your castor oil packing and your, you know, your herbal enemas. So just looking at some foods that are really helpful generally for liver phase 1 and 2, we've looked at all the sulfur rich vegetables and cruciferous veggies. Then carrots are also helpful because of the antioxidants. Asparagus is good. Watermelon is lovely. And yeah, sorry, sulfur rich and cruciferous veggies. One of the reasons a coffee enema is helpful, and I know some, you know, many of you have tried it, and is that it's high in palmitates, palmitic acid, and that is what helps increase glutathione in the liver. Now, actually, quite a few things can be high in palmitic acid. Obviously, palm oil is one of them, and things like dairy can be high in palmitic acid, and meats also. But if you can imagine, some things in too high quantities can put a bit too much pressure on, you know, too much palmitic acid. So it's everything in moderation. Sorry, that was probably a bit of a whistle-stop tour.
It was. It's really, really interesting. I'm going to have to listen to that again, I think. I never appreciated like there's two sides to why, you know, what we need to do with the liver.
Yes.
It's
Yeah.
very interesting, Susie. Thank you.
Thank you. It's one of the reasons why you're thinking about what you're putting in your juices and your smoothie, and then what you're doing on the other side with what you're trying to eliminate and support of elimination.
So you mentioned watermelon. What's watermelon good for? Sorry.
Yes, good question. Well, firstly, very high in water. Yeah. Then you've got the antioxidants in it from the colour as well. Yeah, that's why that's a nice one.
So it's interesting that we all know that you should.
Also, when I had cancer,
oh, sorry. What interesting that you've got what? Sorry, Teresa.
We all know that you shouldn't take grip with certain blood pressure, with certain medications. But I've never heard before that curcumin, turmeric could be an issue.
Yes. Yes, I guess that's when you look at the amount it slows it down in terms of drug detox. It's quite surprising, isn't it? And I guess in a way you would have to be eating a lot every day for that to have a huge impact.
That's right. Yeah.
And that's kind of the conclusion we came to, isn't it?
Yeah. Because curcumin is very important, isn't it?
It's amazing. Very anti-inflammatory.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, I'm just going to ignore that. I'm going to carry on regardless. And the red grapefruit I bought last time from Mark's or wherever was gorgeous. So I'm going to live dangerously and use that again.
Sorry, Jane, what were you going to say?
More or less a similar thing, actually. When I had cancer, I was told quite definitely not to touch grapefruit ever again.
Really?
And nobody gave me a reason or said there was some reason why I shouldn't be eating grapefruit. I've eaten it. I've had it in my smoothies, but I didn't understand at the time, and nobody ever told me why.
Yes, it's partly because of the liver pathways, but it's making sure you've got the balance between slowing phase 1 down a little bit and supporting speeding up phase 2. But if you can do that, there shouldn't be a problem at all. But
well, I'm like Shelley. I think I'm going to have to watch that again anyway.
Yeah.
It's particularly if you're not on any medication, that it helps. I think it's because that's the main thing the medical profession are worried about often.
Well, I think for the purposes of a detox, I mean, let's face it, everybody forgets to take the medication a certain amount of the time anyway. Don't we?
That's true, actually. It does happen. Yes.
So to take something that inhibits its effectiveness isn't going to make any difference. Well, or am I wrong?
Well, that's a good point. I mean, if you're inhibiting its effectiveness a little bit on a particular day, then it's possibly not going to make much more difference than if you have a day where, like on the full moon, you're probably not going to be doing very well with processing it in any case.
Right.
So yes, it probably wouldn't make, on this rare occasion, it's not going to make such a difference as a full moon day probably would. No. Yeah, because we're struggling more to detoxify on a full moon because of the impact of that. Yes, putting it in balance like that, Teresa, I can see what you're saying. Yeah.
But where there's a will, there's a way. I can always find a way around rules.
Yeah.
Don't tell the children.
Yeah. Any other questions about that? About the liver and what it's up to?
Very interesting.
You just have to have such respect for that organ, don't you? It's just love your liver.
You know, in Germany they prescribe milk thistle. Doctors prescribe milk thistle.
Really? No, I didn't know that.
You know, Liz, who's my friend, they have a better system, don't they? They go to see specific people, and she said on a couple of occasions she's been given milk thistle as part of whatever. They're much more open to different things, I think, in Germany.
That's true, actually. I do know that medical practitioners have a wide range of sort of sorry, just
I was talking about the I can't remember the name of the Steiner doctors. They've got a particular name, haven't they? The Steiner school doctors. I was talking about them the other day. They prescribe milk thistle a lot. We had a number of teachers, anthroposophical doctors. We had a number of teachers who got cancer whilst I was going to, because I was through the school for about 13 years between the 3 children. And we had a number of cancer issues in parents or teachers during that time, and they all ended up, if they went to see the anthroposophical doctor, they all ended up on milk thistle. Yeah. And that's a German, Steiner's system is German, yeah.
That's right. it's worth using as a tonic.
You said
Yeah.
about how would you make that tonic up then? How much would you dilute it?
Oh, I would get a bottle of tincture, and
For the likes-
Virgil is a good make.
Oh, yeah.
Is it Virgil? VOGL? Alfred Virgil. And just use, it's usually about 20 drops in some water each day. And you know, treat your liver to a little tonic of liver cell growth, and it helps you make glutathione, does milk thistle. And
how frequently do you recommend?
Well, it certainly doesn't hurt, I would say, to at some point spring, summer, at some point autumn, winter, you know, maybe twice a year, have a little tonic of milk thistle.
And if you've had a bit of a binge, you can do it, can't you? Not
You
that
could.
you would. Not that you would.
Binge, Shelley, perish thought.
Just bring it with you when we go away. Finally.
Yeah, my son uses it regularly as a hangover cure.
Yeah.
Does he? I don't know if I've ever told you about we were away in France, and we got invited by some neighbours down the road to a they call it aperitif, apéro they call it, and they invited us along, and I politely had sort of half a glass of cider and then went on to water, and I could see Andy over the other side of the table chatting to the French gentleman. I was chatting to his wife, because we did manage some, you know, mutual conversation, but it's much easier actually to speak to one French person at a time. So we were sort of chatting away, and I could see that Andy was sharing whiskey with this gentleman. Anyway, we'd been there from about 6:30, and it got to about 9, and I said to her, you know, could I just use your toilet? So she showed me, just before, I looked across at Andy, and he said something, and he kind of went, "Are you right?" like this. And I thought, oh my God, he's absolutely drunk. Anyway, I went to the loo and I came back and I said, I think it's probably time we went home. You know, because it's half past, getting on to 9:12. And anyway, we managed to get out the door by about 9:30, and we walked. The front door had a set of steps up to it. We got down to the bottom of the front door, and he was leaning very heavily on me, and he says, "Here, I've had about half a bottle of whiskey." Oh my God. Anyway, we got home, and quickly I'd made a fish pie, and I popped it in the oven because we still hadn't eaten, and it was no wonder that he was like he was. And he anyway, sitting at the kitchen table, and I said, right, I made him some green tea. Give him a pint of water first of all, then I made him a green tea, and then I gave him Supermag, I gave him vitamin C, I gave him vitamin E, I gave him a dose of antioxidants, and about, I don't know, it must have been 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, he woke me up because he was sort of stirring to get up to go to the loo. He said, "How do you feel?" He said, "Do you know, I feel absolutely fine." He drank some more water, got up the next morning, and he said, "Do you know, you ought to write a blog on a hangover cure." He said, "Because I can't believe I haven't got a hangover." I said, "I most certainly am not writing a blog on how to cure a hangover." I said, "Can you imagine what that would do to my reputation?" Yeah, well, you can tell them it was me. But anyway, yes, there we go.
Milk thistle then.
Yes. No, I didn't have any milk thistle, but we got away with
But
it.
you had
And green tea is
Green tea.
I knew was helpful as well for supporting the liver.
And what did you say the company's called again, Susie? It's Virgil.
Virgil, yes, Alfred Virgil was quite a famous herbalist. I'm just trying to think if he's still alive. He was ancient last time he might still be going. A Swiss gentleman, but I know they're quite a good make, their products for tinctures. Really well-known herbalist. They're also the company that make the bio-snacky because I'm going to say mung beans are quite good too for liver. Either mung beans cooked, and put in stews and things, but also the mung bean sprouts are lovely for liver. But the sprouting towers he does are lovely about bio-snacky.
Oh, yeah.
And also the bio-snacky glass sprouter as well is super. It's got the lovely sievie lid that with a stand, so that you can stand your glass up at 45 degrees, and it drains the water out. But they're the bio-snacky range by Virgil.
Excellent.
Do you feel okay for what you're going to eat today? Nice light vegan diet, and but don't get hungry. Use some beans for protein and or your bean sprouts, and and don't sort of maybe make it so bland that you can't bear it. If you're doing a green stir fry or something. Yeah.
I haven't got any supplements through the post yet, Susie.
I'm hoping then that they will arrive
today.
So if you get so they don't, I mean, sometimes our post doesn't come till mid-morning, so take the morning ones at lunchtime instead.
Okay.
What are the morning ones? Because mine doesn't come till often in the afternoon. What should we be taking this morning?
Yes, I think I've put Supermag C. What else have I got in the morning? The vegan EPA.
You've emailed that out, haven't you?
Yes,
Susie?
yes. There's a list.
There is an email. It's only just come out, but there is one.
Yeah, last night. Sorry about that. Vegan EPA. That was another thing that I thought I'd sent with the email. It didn't go. What else is it apart from vegan EPA? C. Is it? It could be the probiotic. Yes. Yes. Thank you. Yeah.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Also, Susie, have you got? Can you send that link for the astrology? The medical astrology chart to do.
Oh yes, I will do that today. Thank you, Jane. Yeah.
Yes, because we need that for Sunday, don't we?
We do. Yes, it's AstroSeek. So if you just I'll send a little bit of instruction as well as to which what to do with it when you get it.
Okay.
If you don't know your birth time, I think you can just tick unknown, and it will do you a midday chart. But do maybe have a little go at dowsing.
That's an interesting idea. Yeah.
Yes, if you've got just a simple silver or silver pendant that's maybe got a cross on or got a St. Christopher on, anything like that, just hold it up like that and say yes with great energy, and think yes through your body and see what direction it swings in. Now mine goes round in a circle, and then when I say no and think no, the pendulum will just swing back and forth for me. But for some people, for a yes, it'll go in one direction, and for the no, it'll go in the other direction. And so then say to yourself, if you don't, was I born at 1 a.m. or around 1 a.m.? Was I born around 2 a.m.? And just see if it'll say no or yes, and go through the 24 hours, as it were. and see if you pick up anything around time, because even to have a vague time is helpful in terms of your rising sign, your ascending sign. And then if you get, you know, and it says 3 a.m, we'll say to yourself, well, was I born at 3:15 a.m? Was I born at 3:30? Was I born at 3:45? And see if you can get it even a little bit more accurate. And if it starts to swing wildly in one direction.
This is so fascinating, isn't it?
Oh gosh,
Yeah.
you know, intuitively, we know everything. We know.
Yeah.
And it's yeah, or you know, ask a parent to help you. Say, Mum and Dad, I really want you, because you were there, I want you to help me with this. And please tell me what time I was born.
Interesting.
Yeah. And you know, sometimes people have asked for help, you know, in a dream. Please give me a dream tonight that will show me what time I was born. Yeah.
I did a dowsing weekend. There was a guy around here that did it, and I did it with my friend Gwyn. I gave it as a birthday present to her, and we really had fun with it. And we were finding things in, you know, we had to go finding things in rooms using our.
Oh wow!
And we did. Things turned up. I mean, we were all shocked, but it did work. Yeah,
that is amazing.
Yeah.
Did you do any water dowsing or anything?
Yeah,
like that?
yeah, we did.
Yes.
We started outside with the rods. We did the rods actually.
Yes.
Which
Oh,
I've got
wow.
somewhere. Yeah.
Oh, what are they made of, Shelley?
They were metal actually. The
They're
ones we
metal?
used. Yeah, they were metal.
Right.
Fascinating.
It was really good fun.
Yeah.
When I moved to this cottage, they couldn't find the water supply, and in the end, the water authority sent a dowser to find the yeah, they did.
Wow.
Incredible.
You can use two willow sticks for water, can't you?
Can you? Right.
Yeah, you can use two willow sticks.
It's very powerful. It's very powerful as well when you've got them. I've got a pair of rods that were made, but he's died now, but he was a really famous dowser in this country. Not my thing, but I've got some rods I made, and he took us out with them, and it's so strong. We were walking over, it was somewhere in Cornwall, we were just walking over land, and suddenly they just went woof. You know, it just like, it's really powerful.
Yeah.
I do. But I was never quite sure whether it was water or magnetism or what. But you know, suddenly if you walked over there, they would just go. It is quite strong. But dowsing with a pendulum, I've never managed to get the hang of that. It's funny.
Right.
It's funny how with divination, your tools. I think, you know, it's like I can work with cards, intuition and cards really easily. I almost don't have to think. But if you put me with a dowsing pendulum, I find it hard. But I've got a friend who finds, you know, who's really good with it. But I've never found that easy.
I think some crystal healers use a dowsing, don't they, over the body to determine which crystals are right. Yeah.
Susie, I'm going to have to go.
Okay, Jane.
I'm going to have to go.
I'll see you tomorrow
So
morning.
see you all tomorrow.
Yes.
Have a good day.
Yeah, have a nice
Have a
day.
really good day.
Yes, sorry. I don't know what the time is.
Susie, is this the sort of time it will be tomorrow that we finish? It's just I need to.
Yes.
It'll be
definitely.
About 9:15 latest, will it?
Yes. What time is it now, Shelley?
10 past.
Oh God, I'm sorry. Right.
No, it's fine. No, it's fine. I just want to know. I was arranging to meet somebody about 10 o'clock, so I just need to know what time I can meet her.
Yes, definitely. And tomorrow, what we'll do is just have a quick gathering, and then if everybody wants 10 minutes, just have a chat about themselves, then we can do that. Okay. And do that way, and hop in and out of here or something. Yeah.
Okay then.
Yeah.
Have a good
Yes,
day.
thanks very much, Susan.
Very interesting.
Sorry. Thank you. Have a lovely day.
You too. See you tomorrow.
Bye.
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 Susie.
Everybody.